My name is Jason Reisman, and I'm the owner and operator of Eustis Roofing Company. A Eustis Roofing story starts 60 years ago from the ground up. We moved here as a poor family from New York, and we couldn't find work. And so we went to a local diner where everybody said the business owners eat. And we went from table to table, my father did, to find somebody that would give him a job. And it was the owner at the time of Eustis Roofing. His name is Joe Driggers. He gave my father a chance. And so that's how it all started. It started from the ground up, cleaning the ground on the job sites, working his way up to running a crew, working his way up to running the sales division, working his way up to actually buying the company. And that's all started about 35 years ago. And that's how we obtained Eustis Roofing. I came from Nascar. I used to work in Nascar, for 10 years. And I used to be a race car driver, and I love racing. I love what it does too.
Do you race yourself?
Yeah, I'm the driver, yeah, which is the best part. So this is a marketing expense, and I get to be the driver. But I love what racing does. It brings people together. So we're gonna go racing this week, and we'll have 100 people there from here, or family and friends, and the kids are all playing together, they're all laughing, and then also, I get to have a good time. But I love adrenaline, I love the rush of it. But one of the things that I noticed is all my employees have all these fancy cars, the roofers, and they have these fast cars, and I was like, how can we connect, and then how can I get back behind the wheel of a race car? So when I worked in NASCAR, I traveled the world, traveled the country, and there was just something always special about Lake County. This is a small county. There's not a ton of people. It's growing massively because the people moving out of Orlando are moving over to here because it's a small town feel. So guys, when I'm looking at a house like this, what I'm gonna look for is the problematic areas. Areas that you're gonna call me on that you have issues with. Areas that no matter what roofer you hire, they're gonna be the problematic areas on your house. Those are the areas that I'm gonna go to first and make sure that they're perfect so you don't have problems in the future. And so some of those areas, when you look at these dormers, on the bottom of the dormers, what do we see a lot is rotted wood on the bottom of the dormers, or leaks that happen 10, 12 years down the road. So those are the areas that we want to point out and show you guys. Also, alongside the dormers, you have L flashing that's in those dormers. We want to make sure that L flashing is in good shape, and then we add a piece of peel and stick to it, a membrane, to help keep that waterproof over time. So guys, this is our flashing here. This is our problematic area. This is the area that's a #1 concern to me. I actually like how they do this, where it comes through the wall here so that the water runs right by your problematic area. When roofs get leaks, they're always on the other side right here. This sometimes turns and the leak is always right here in the corner, and this is a really nice piece of flashing where the water is going to run by and get out of that problematic area. So here in Florida, the codes and everything here is probably the strictest that you'll ever see in the roofing industry. It's a lot different than your northern states and what you guys see. There's a lot more structure here as far as how they want things done, and the reason we got to be like that is we experience a lot of hurricanes. We're fixing to come into hurricane season right now. Metal. Actually, we've sold more metal this year than we've ever sold. It's very popular. There's some stuff coming down the line as far as are we gonna have to redeck roofs and stuff like that, where metal's gonna play a role in that. I started with this machine as far as a brake machine. This was a big deal back in the day. This one's all hydraulic, computerized. It's a folding machine. I actually still love this machine. It works really well. This is what we started with. And then we moved on to some more machines that are a little quicker and faster and easier for the guys to use. This is one of my favorite things about the machine that we have here. This is a really interesting profile. Now, only that machine can make it because the machine actually flips. This is a special one as far as if you have a really hard standing seam that's really steep, you can actually put the cap on first. And so this is the only machine that can bend a piece like this. So this is your ridge cap, and then your standing seam slides up inside of here. To be honest with you, I haven't really done one yet because by trade, I've always been a roofer, and I like to really slide way under stuff. And for me, it still scares me a little bit, windblown rain, but it's a really cool to be able to make this. So it's all computerized. We even have guys' names in here, some like Columbia, Fernando, Jan. So some of the project managers have their names in here so they can just go hit their folder, and parts that they make every day, they can make it real quick. So here at Eustis Roofing, we wanted to be different. We wanted to save homeowners from bad roofers, and we couldn't do that by doing 1 or 2 houses a week. So we had to find a way to do that better and more efficiently. And so what we did is we said no subcontracting. So number one, it's illegal unless they have a roofing license in the state of Florida as a subcontractor. So we want to create an atmosphere for them to work in that they want to achieve goals. They want to give you an awesome roof. It's a really nice unit. It's safe. It's got some good structure to it, but it's all hydraulic. The jack, the door, everything he can do from his keychain. And you know, really it's about giving your employees better equipment, because they're gonna love their job more if they got nice equipment. So when you show up to the dump, I mean, it's dump wars, right? I'm gonna tell you something. You go to the dump with roofers and nobody can dump their trailer, right? I don't know if you've ever been there. It's hilarious. They got jumper cables. Everybody's struggling to dump their trailers. There is no efficiency at the dump. So what we wanted to do is when we pull into the dump, we want to pull into the dump with something that works, something that looks nice, and that the guy that works for us is proud of. So we don't put it in the driveway because we have the equipters. So this is really representing us on the street. And so it's a big deal to show who we are. And this is a big part of that. But also, you know, the guy driving it is proud. And this is a billboard just going through town all day long. When I talk about equipters, here's what I say about equipters. If you're in the trucking industry or the shipping industry, you have a forklift. That's how you get the stuff in the trucks and stuff like that. How can you be in that industry without a forklift? That's what an equipter is to a roofer. It's that valuable.
I like that.
It's a big difference if you don't have one. We were talking earlier about it. It brings you better employees. That's my #1 thing about the equipter, is it brings you better people, because they want to work for you if you have an equipter versus the guy that doesn't. If you look at this van, there's a lot more seating in here. And now, at one time we had these all set up where they can pull the compressors out and they're running outside and then they slide them back in. But they don't use that as much as we thought, but everybody's got their stuff here. We have all the nails and everything, so we bring all the nails, simplexes, it all comes from the shop. We buy it by pallets and truckloads. So one week we might buy a semi-trailer of these so that we can save on volume and we can get a better discount. And then also we have multiple guns on here, because in Florida you get rain, it pops up. That's your #1 thing in Florida, is watching the weather. And we don't want a gun to go down and won't be able to dry it in before the rain gets here. So that's a key component in making sure we have everything we need here. Yeah, so right now it can seem to, like most people, that we're living the American dream, and we are. America is a great place to live, but there was a lot of sacrifice to get to where we are, a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, and a lot of coming together as a family to do that. And you know, when I grew up, we were so poor, we couldn't even afford a dining room table. We literally ate off a picnic table inside of our house. We ate pancakes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because that's all we could afford. I lived in this tiny house down the street. My neighbor got murdered. I mean, when I moved here, I moved in one of the roughest neighborhoods. Coolest part about that house is I could vacuum the whole house from one outlet. I mean, who can say they can do that, right? Vacuum the entire house from one outlet. And now I have this home that is just, I have to pinch myself every time I come home, every time I leave. I live on a reserve that I never dreamed was possible. But you know, that's the thing about roofing. Roofing is, if you work hard and you pull from deep within, it's probably the hardest job you can ever do. I mean, in the middle of a 20 degree heat day, I mean, you got to pull from within, everything within, to make it through that day. But there is a payoff. You can make it in roofing. Roofing can provide an awesome future, but you got to pull deep every day. And so that's what roofing's brought to me and my family. It's an opportunity that if you're willing to work hard, it will pay off in big ways. We had a homeowner working on the roof, and she come out and she said, I hope those guys know that this roof costs more than they make in a year. And I was like, well, let me talk to you about roofers. You know how much engineers make? Yeah, that's what they make. You know, like, these are not guys, this is not what you think it is. You know, these guys are talented athletes putting your roof on. Let's come up on the roof and you can talk like that on the roof. Because once you get on the roof, it's a whole different story. It's hot, it's nasty, and these guys are just putting the shingles down and working hard. You know, it's a whole different atmosphere. I'm watching these guys and I'm learning how to live on my own. I'm watching them sit together and eat lunch together. One of the greatest things is some guys will bring meals and they all put a little bit of each on their food. These guys are what it's all about. They're family. They're, you know, no matter if they get mad at each other, or any of the guys on the crew, like if they get mad at each other, they still come together at the end of the day, like most of the time, right? I mean, they're amazing. Their culture is amazing. And there's a lot for us to learn, except for we got one guy that literally eats roaches for his, have you seen that, Mame?
Yeah, Mame.
The guy brings in a dish of roaches. That's what he eats for lunch. And he's like, more power. This give me power. So my advice for the roofers out there is sometimes the harder road is worth it. It takes more time, but in the end, it's worth it to take the harder route. And that's what we did by not having subcontractors. But at the end of the day, I believe in investing back into your company. I mean, honestly, I want the big boat and all those things, but I want everybody to achieve their goals here first, and I want to have the equipment to help them do that, and the rest will come. And so that's my advice, and that's the way that we always pay everything off here. We don't have any loans, anything like that, because we want to build this company. This is what matters. We put everything back into this company by giving our employees the equipment that they need. And then another thing too, if you got a homeowner out there that's not happy, you need to do everything in your power to make that homeowner happy. There is no excuse to have somebody that's not happy. So we got some fuel tanks here, so we want to be efficient. So on Sundays, they fill all the vehicles up so they're ready to go Monday morning. Whenever we get a hurricane, you can't get gas. We can't get to people. So we said, how do we fix that? So we put our own pumps in, we can put our own fuel in. And then one of the things too is we can control the supplements that they put in the fuel for the vehicles, and they run better. So they put it right into the tank. So instead of every time like, hey, I want you to put this in the fuel tank to help the diesel, nobody's gonna do that. Employees aren't gonna do that every day, so we put it in the big tanks and they do that for us. We were spending thousands of dollars on tires. We were spending thousands of dollars on cars, trucks sitting here waiting for the tire shop to open up, because we go to work early. We can't wait on the rest of the industries to open up. So we had to find a solution, and now we got our own tire guy. We have our own tire machines, balancers. We have tires ready to go, because in roofing, what do we have? We have nails, man. We have 20,000 pounds of nails that come off a roof. And so what happens? They go on a tire. We got to fix that. We got to keep the guys rolling so that we can get to the homeowners. And I will say there has been a few homeowner tires that we brought in here and fixed also. When I advise a homeowner on what to look for in roofing is, one of the number one things is passion. I mean, you gotta go with somebody that has a passion for what they're doing. They gotta believe in what they're doing. And if you go to my page, or if you go to our website, if you go to our YouTube page, you are going to see passion. It's not all monetary gain or things like that. It's passion. It's passion for the employees. It's passion for you, the homeowner. Passion is what I look for. And that's why, you know, with the creations of YouTube and Facebook and all the social media stuff, how involved is that company? Is it important to them? Because if you have a problem with your roof, and that's a platform for you to go to, and I'm gonna be there to make sure that my platform doesn't have problems, and you can come and get me off of my platform. We're watching it. We're making sure that we're protecting you from bad roofers. So if you have a bad experience, you want to go to a roofer that really puts a lot into their platform, and so that you can complain. And another thing too is, I'm a big fan of brick and mortar too. I have an office here. If you have a problem with your job, you can come see me. So a lot of these roofers will just shut their phone off. And so I do believe in brick and mortar, and a place that you can go to if you can't get a hold of your roofer. And that's what we see in our industry is a lot of roofers, they can just shut their phone off and you disappear. Look for a platform, look for somebody involved in the community, look for passion and a roofer that loves what he does. And that's kind of what we set up here.